Hey, Tom, I need a moment to speak with you. The head of the department stopped me on my route to the site. I stopped dead in my tracks. Yes, what is it? I asked, bewildered. She rarely came up to me personally, so I answered a little confused. This conversation is not appropriate here. Visit the meeting room, she said. I went to conference room as she had instructed, went in, and took a seat across from her. You just received your high school diploma. What kind of business would entrust the administration of a logistics system to a person with only a high school degree? Does educational background really matter in managing things? I shot back, infuriated by her remarks. I'm sorry, but you've been let go. Someone with more education has been employed by us, she said. I was stunned when I was abruptly informed that I had been sacked. Tom Smith is my name. I oversee the company's distribution system as an engineer. I just had a high school degree, yet the corporation accepted my self-taught system engineering skills and let me join. Ken, the former head of the department, helped me secure this position. Thus, I owe him my job. I owe him everything. I was left in foster care after losing my parents in a car accident when I was 5 years old, leaving me an orphan without siblings or family. A computer was donated to that home, and I have been interested in computers since I first saw them in 5th grade at school. I became interested in programming and would play with a computer whenever I had free time at the foster home. As I progressed to the point where I was making games and playing with others, I would go over and apply what I had learned in school. Even though it was advised that I continue my studies in college, by the time I graduated from high school, budgetary limitations prevented this from happening. After high school, I made a decision to leave the foster home, learning that many families couldn't place their kids there, and accepted a job at a restaurant that provided room and board. I began working at the restaurant where Ken would go on his lunch breaks. As I cleared tables and escorted him to a seat, he would ask, "Quite a young server, are you?" It happened that Ken and the store owner had been friends since they were young. He was hired from a foster home in the area. The child is quite adept at using computers. He even completes our books on it, quickly calculating everything from sales to profits. He shows us the profit margins and the most popular menu items. However, it can be annoying to know things you'd rather not. The proprietor of the restaurant would chuckle and compliment me. Pretty impressive. We're talking about digitizing our logistics. At my company, computers are becoming essential, and without them, we won't be able to keep up. Even if you're busy, keep studying. If you're still into computers when you turn 20, we might have a spot for you at our company. It seemed Ken was genuinely interested in my computer skills. I was thinking of leaving the shop to him so I could take it easy, but working at Ken's company might offer me more in the way of a future. Give it your best shot, Tom. The shop owner encouraged me. At the foster home and in school, everyone recognized my talent with computers, and I took great pride in that. Intrigued by the logistics system Ken mentioned, I saved up to buy a computer on my modest salary and spent all my free time learning to program, discovering that a tablet could speed up orders and automate sales tallies. I experimented by programming my own system, using a secondhand smartphone as a tablet stand-in. Ken gave me advice and helped me refine the program. The old shop underwent a tech makeover that surprised many customers, attracting even those from mighty companies. The shop owner supported my experiments, investing time and money in them. By 20, I had amassed considerable knowledge. To think you taught yourself all this, how about joining our company? Ken eventually offered. The only reason I didn't teach you to cook was that I hoped you'd join Ken's company someday. What's the use in learning to cook if you're going to be a corporate employee? I personally thought it's better for you not to do things halfway. The restaurant owner expressed his deep consideration for my future. Leaving the restaurant felt wrong after having received 3 years of kindness, but I was grateful for the owner's foresight. This place is old, and it would need to be rebuilt even if someone took it over. I don't really want to continue it that much. When you get a job, you'll be renting an apartment, right? I'm planning to close this restaurant eventually. I felt lonely as the restaurant owner said that. For me, it was like my own home. I'll be your guarantor when you rent an apartment. I'll hire someone from foster care who seems to have dropped out of school like you did. That's one way to contribute to society. Once you are settled, Come by for a meal sometime, will you? The manager tried to alleviate my guilt about leaving by talking about very things. I then told Ken about it. That's because you've worked hard. I heard from the owner how you study till late every night. Please take care of that kid, he'd say to me. Ken shared about the owner's kindness. Let's get you to take the hiring exam soon. I'm sorry, but our company has never hired someone without a college diploma for a technical position. It seems best for me to headhunt you. Could you summarize the system you created at the restaurant in your resume? We'll use that as the first round of selection. After being told this, I prepared my resume and handed it to Ken. There seemed to be considerable opposition within the company, but Ken wanted them to see my abilities and suggested that if I could outperform a third-year engineer in a programming contest, they should hire me. I went to the company at the time Ken had told me and took the exam. Before the exam, the restaurant owner closed the restaurant to buy me a suit, and he accompanied me to the store. As I put on the suit, the owner couldn't help but tear up, feeling proud of my growth. Wearing the suit felt more restrictive than I expected. Furthermore, as I didn't know how to tie a necktie, a female clerk helped me, making my face turn red from embarrassment as the restaurant owner teased me about it. A passerby remarked, "What a close father and son you both are." Hearing that, I said, "Yes, he's really my beloved father." Looking at the owner, he finally broke down in tears. After paying, I took the suit and thanked the owner. He looked embarrassed, patted my shoulder, and left the store. Following him out, I found the owner crying behind the shop. Approaching him, I asked, "Would you consider adopting me? I'd like to call you Dad." He quietly nodded, saying, "Would you be okay with me? I wanted to ask you, but couldn't. I'm so happy you said that." Then he started calling Ken. That night, Ken, the owner, and I went out to celebrate. He's always wanted to adopt you since he took you in. I'm glad that dream came true. Ken's words made me incredibly happy. We have to call it an early night because of the exam tomorrow. I went home first, but the owner and Ken stayed out drinking till late. The next day, I quietly left the job exam. Although anxious about what the test would be like, I felt positive, ready to study again and seize another opportunity if needed. After the interview, I took the same test as a third-year employee who quickly assembled the program, while surprised by the speed of his typing. I stayed calm and completed my programming without rushing. As the time limit approached, I had finished, but the employee was still working on his program. After they were collected for assessment, the programs were first tested on a machine, starting with the employee. Although his program functioned as required, it wasn't completely finished, leading to a score of 80. Then my program was tested. It wasn't perfect, but it did score 95. The evaluators decided that my self-taught skills were more than sufficient, resulting in my hiring. I immediately shared the news with my father, and we rejoiced together. Returning to the restaurant, the regular customers also celebrated, and I was set to start work the next day. Eventually, the owner and I formally completed the adoption process. After joining the company, I became part of the team implementing the logistics system. Creating something from nothing was truly challenging, but through continuous programming, testing, and revision, often clashing with team members, we progressed in systematizing the process. Finally, the system was launched successfully, marking a significant achievement. As the project concluded, I became the sole person responsible from the initial team tasked with managing the system, leading to my current role as the system went operational. Ken retired upon reaching his pension age, saying, "Tom, you've done well to launch this. With this system, we can reduce both employee workload and errors, cutting labor costs significantly. It's a considerable benefit for the company." Ken's contributions to the system's concept and operation were recognized, and there was talk of him joining the board, but he chose to enjoy his post-retirement life instead. Simultaneously, my father also retired, passing the restaurant to a young man from foster care, marking his exit from active duty. The young man was also adopted, and though not related by blood, I gained a brother. Together, we both took care of our father. Dad had planned to close the restaurant, but he reluctantly agreed when my brother wanted to take over. Though I could tell he was actually happy about it, he was relieved of the burden. Dad has been enjoying his retirement, traveling and playing golf with Ken. After Ken retired, Fuga transferred from the sales department and became the new head of our department. She, not understanding the technical side, often gave me impossible tasks, causing frequent clashes. Whenever I outsmarted her in meetings, it seemed to hurt her pride, making her storm out red-faced. Don't embarrass the boss too much. It'll only worsen your position. And she's probably just trying to help the company. I was often cautioned, but I couldn't stay silent when our hard-earned system was criticized. I despised the contempt she occasionally showed and confronted her, meeting her strong-willed gaze. Having heard of her troubles with colleagues in sales, even knowing I was the most knowledgeable about the system, she refused to acknowledge it. In reality, no one in the company knew the logistics system better than I did. I handled all its troubles and improvements alone. Then, in a meeting room, I was shocked by her words. "You really don't understand anything, do you?" I sighed in exasperation and said, "All right, I'll resign as you wish. Who will be my successor? It's a complex system, and I'd like to ensure a proper handover." I wanted to ensure a smooth transition, so my successor wouldn't struggle. I told this to the boss, but was dismissed. "There's no need to hand over from a high school graduate like you. We'll leave it to someone with a higher education level," he said. Furious at her words, I simply said, "Understood," then left to write my resignation letter. When I submitted it, the manager was astonished. "What happened suddenly? Is there an issue with the terms? The company will really struggle without you." Ken also insisted on relying on you when he retired. "I thought I was making things easier for you, but where'd you find dissatisfaction?" the manager inquired, looking troubled. So I relayed Ann's remarks, leading him to argue. "Coming from sales, she doesn't understand the technical aspects. You don't need to take her seriously. Even if she talks about hiring educated employees, no one but you can manage the system. A handover would take at least a year, right?" The manager appeared quite angry at her comments. "I don't mind quitting, but I want to ensure a proper handover." With discussions about system upgrades ongoing, halting the system would significantly harm the company. The manager nodded. "Exactly. Let me keep this resignation letter. I'll inform her of the risks after your departure and try to change her mind." "Thank you. Please do," I said. As I was about to leave, the manager asked, "Just out of curiosity, what are your plans after leaving the company?" I responded with a smile. "My brother has taken over the restaurant, so I'll be helping out there for a while." "Good to know. You'll be nearby. Maybe we can hire you as a contractor if needed. It'll be easier for you, avoiding direct dealings with the boss," the manager suggested. "If Ann agrees, though she probably won't because of her spite," I replied. I told the manager I wouldn't return to the company until a decision was made and left for the day. Dad and my brother were surprised by my early return and showed concern as I explained the situation, making me truly appreciate having a family for the first time. Although I had been worried before while in foster care, being cared for by my family felt uniquely reassuring. Meanwhile, the manager tried to persuade and about my contributions and the impact of my absence, spending time trying to bring me back to the company. However, and remained unconvinced, leading to my definitive resignation. Confronting her, the manager asked, "How will you take responsibility if the logistics system fails and causes company damage?" Her cold reply was, "It's just the system a high school graduate created. We can simply rebuild it. I don't see it as a big deal, especially with the talented college graduates we've hired." The manager shared this with me over beers at the shop, apologizing. "Tom, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you," he said as he downed his beer and asked for more. I replied, "I appreciate it, manager, but don't overdrink. We don't want to worsen your standing with the boss. If the new employee can handle it, maybe it's for the best." Now that I've resigned, I'm thinking of enrolling in an online college. This situation made me realize I need at least that qualification. It's frustrating to be discounted for lack of formal education. I thought technical skills should stand on their own, I said. The manager empathized with me as I lamented my situation, having climbed the ranks on my skills alone. His acknowledgement meant a lot to me. Let's see how the new employee handles things. I can help out if there's trouble, regardless of the cost. I said. Hearing this, Dad asked, "Good thinking. I'd be happy if you can do that. Don't you need to discuss it with Ken? He's enjoying retirement so much, I don't want to worry him. He can't really intervene in company matters. It would just upset him to know about it." I replied, "I asked Dad to keep this secret for Ken's sake." That day, the manager stayed late at the restaurant, reluctant to leave. So I drove him home and thought about what I could do for him. I decided to prepare the handover documents. I worked on them over the next 2 weeks and handed them to the manager on my last day. While many colleagues saw me off, an employee, John, continued working, not leaving his desk. The manager had suggested John say goodbye, but he refused, only following Ann's orders. After that, the manager stopped trying to talk to him. After resigning, I enrolled in an online college, attending classes and spending my days in a mix of relief and loneliness due to the lack of contact from the company. One night, I was surprised by a call from the manager, sounding very panicked. The logistics system has crashed. John made changes without proper checks and without any backup data taken before we can't restore it. "I'm on my way," he quickly responded. I headed to the company, where the manager was waiting for me at the gate. Inside, I found John being yelled at by a crowd. "When will this be fixed? You said you could handle it, right? Not taking a backup is just negligent. Who's going to take responsibility for this?" In the midst of the chaos, John was losing his cool, blaming Anne. I told her, "I couldn't do it. If you have a complaint, take it up with her. She knows how to handle the responsibility." After John broke the program, she just said she had something else to do and left. What's with that, boss? But right now, fixing this is what matters. "Tom, you're the only one I can rely on. Please help," the manager pleaded. My help was needed. So I approached John. "John, right? Tell me what happened." "It's none of your business," he retorted coldly, causing my former colleagues to get even more upset. "How can you say that to Tom? He came here to help," they chided. John moved aside, and I took over the computer. Seeing the program, I realized it was one of the system's most complex parts. Taking a deep breath to focus, I started restoring all altered areas back to their original state. Surprisingly, I had memorized the complex parts due to the difficulties I faced before. I completed the restoration in about an hour. After a successful check, my former colleagues applauded me, and many came to shake my hand. John, watching from the side, accused me. "You made such a complicated program on purpose, so no one else can touch it. That's a sneaky move." "I didn't do anything like that," I replied. "It became like this because I was trying to meet everyone's needs. I spent months building just this part of the program. It's complex and significant to me. If you had done your research, you should have known not to tamper with it." Tell that to Anne. She said anyone can handle it because a high school graduate made it. But looking at it now, finding someone who can write this level of programming isn't easy, even in the whole country. "How did you acquire these skills?" John bitterly remarked, but I left without responding. I went with the manager and my former colleagues to the company's gate, and they saw me off. Can't wait to see Ann's reaction tomorrow. Maybe we should start a petition to bring you back, Tom. This company needs you. I appreciated the sentiment, but wasn't hopeful. However, the satisfaction of solving the problem reignited my desire to continue in this field. Considering employment in it, I realized my educational background might still be a barrier. Even with independence, my only real connections were with my former company, making me wonder if returning there was my only option. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I pondered these thoughts. Eventually, dawn broke after a night of contemplation, and I faced a day on little sleep. That day, and appeared at the office as if nothing had happened. Receiving a report from John upon discovering I had resolved the issue, she seemed frustrated, slamming her desk. John, witnessing this, was shocked, and it seemed to drive a wedge between them, leading to silence. The department's atmosphere soured, and the manager's visits to the restaurant became more frequent. He brought many complaints every time. If there's another major issue with the logistics system, I bet John might quit. He seems to manage small problems, but it takes too long, and it looks like he's reaching his limit. He's not well received by the other employees either, and has started ignoring John's struggles, probably planning to bring in someone new. He continued asking for another beer. What's the best course of action? He asked. The best thing would be for you to come back and maybe get transferred, he whispered to me. That's a bit harsh. Maybe just a transfer. Only 3 months until April. If and is still around, maybe I'll quit and we can start a company together, Tom. I feel like we can do anything if we team up. No need for you to quit. I thought about starting my own business. Fixing the issue yesterday made me think I still could, and I wanted to test my abilities. But there's nothing around here, and my lack of education follows me. It seems like my only option might be to return to the company. When I said that, my dad, who rarely interrupts, spoke up. Were you stuck in that kind of thinking? Go out there and test your skills. There's always someone better in the world. Knowing that is how you grow. Finding a job again might be hindered by your lack of formal education. But if you're working independently, no one will know unless you tell them. There's nothing to lose. Encouraged by Dad's words, I made up my mind. Got it, Dad? I'll give it a shot. Yeah, go for it. If you're going to travel around, you need to get your driver's license. What about your online college? I can't juggle everything, so I'll get my driver's license first. Education doesn't matter much for working independently, right? As Dad and I got excited, the manager, feeling left out, said grumpily, Hey, I brought it up, so let me in on it too. You have a family and kids, and it'll cost you. So quitting might not be the best idea. If you really can't stand your current company, maybe think it over, but wait until the end of March for personal changes. Can you refer someone to us? After convincing the manager, I started attending driving school the next day. The school was crowded with high school seniors about to proceed to college, making me sigh deeply. I felt inferior because these kids had a higher education level than me. Attending driving school became a source of distress. That sense of educational inferiority wasn't easy to shake off. So I took every class available from morning till night to finish as soon as possible. In a month and a half, I got my license. During a break, as I was looking at a used car magazine, Dad and my brother approached me with big smiles, handing me something. I instantly recognized the car keys. They led me to the parking lot, where I saw a white minivan with a newbie driver sign awaiting me. This is for me? Both nodded, and I climbed into the driver's seat, driving off without a specific destination in mind. We reminisced about our time starting at the restaurant, driving until the gas ran out. I often wonder where my life would have been without meeting you. Dad raised me without knowing familial warmth. You showered me with love and let me pursue my interests. I'm truly grateful. That's good to hear. All I can do is not get in your way and support you. That's just what parents do for their kids. So don't hold back with me. You were still young and had a long road ahead. Believe in your abilities, and someone will take notice. My brother nodded in agreement. Thanks. I'll do my best. The next day, I decided to make my former company my first business client. When I called the manager to announce my independence, he said, Congratulations! As a celebration of your new start, I'd like to offer you a job. He had prepared by asking the team that launched the logistics system to help me, and they were ready to support my venture. I was invited to the office for a meeting, waiting in the conference room, and answered, Tom, it's been a while. The last time we spoke was in this room. I really appreciate you fixing the recent trouble. I hadn't realized how capable you are and how much your colleagues respect you. I'm sorry for judging solely based on education and sincerely apologize. I can't ask you to come back, but would you consider being our dedicated contractor? Surprised by Anne's offer, I was pondering when the manager arrived. And, have you already discussed everything? He addressed her. We talked, but he looks quite perplexed. I doubt he'll believe it coming from me, so I'll let you explain, she said and left the room. The manager continued proposing a yearly renewal contract for on-site work, which I declined. Manager, I appreciate the thought, but I want to test myself in different places. I want to see how far my skills can go. I can't commit to being on site. I turned down a permanent position, but managed to secure project-based work. I involved John in the programming, providing prior explanations to ensure he could handle any issues if I wasn't available. This would allow me peace of mind to take on other clients and aid John's development. Teaching John was also a way of giving back, and I shared all my knowledge with him. Quick to learn, John fully grasped the logistics systems programming. As I moved on to other clients, my workload gradually increased. With the car gifted to me by my family, I was ready to head out anywhere I needed and get the job done. 5 years had flown by since I started living this way. I got married in my third year of independence. And to everyone's surprise, my partner was Anne. The manager was utterly shocked when I handed him the wedding invitation. After marrying my wife, I retired and began handling the accounting of my company, supporting me steadfastly. Her competitive spirit is as strong as ever, and while she never apologizes first after a fight, she genuinely cares for my dad. With her managing our home, I can travel across the country without any worries. I've always felt fortunate to be supported by others, allowing me to turn my passions into my career. Eventually, I'll become a father too. When that time comes, I want to shower my family with the same love and care that Dad gave me.